Welcome, everybody, to 3 Beards of Wrestling podcast. I'm your host, Shane. Underneath me is Adrian, and on the other side is Gabe. Welcome, fellas.
Adrian, I know what you feel like. I'm off center over here.
Yeah, see, keep saying it, but then nobody believes until you get over there, and then you feel like you out of the middle of nowhere.
All right. So if everyone can give us a follow on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, all the social media platforms, basically.
Definitely Facebook.
So unfortunately, our guest is not going to make it today, but we did find I don't know how to say it. Another legend.
I think it's another legend in the making right there.
Okay, so in the making, or are they a legend themselves? Like
they are a legend themselves.
Okay. So they haven't been made a legend; they are a legend.
Before we bring our guest on,
definitely a legend.
We got to handle some business quick. So if you want to be a professional wrestler, a referee, a manager, a valet, a timekeeper, I don't know. Hit up the Fort Knox Wrestling School and Workers University that is in Blandon, PA, I believe. Well, we'll double check when we bring our guest on. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure it's Blandon, PA. But yes, hit up the Fort Knox Wrestling page or Workers University page, and get your tryout in. I'm making my debut for Workers Pro Wrestling.
That's March 27th.
On March
Friday.
27th. So if you guys need your tickets, please hit me up or the Workers University page, or Jason Havoc, that is his company, for tickets. And next up on my books is March 14th, St. Patrick's Day Massacre. I can't even say that.
The St. Patrick's Day Massacre.
Yeah.
March 14th.
We return to York, Pennsylvania at Vonnie B. Grimes Gym. Doors open at 5. Bell time is 6 p.m. If you guys need tickets for that, please hit us up on all social media platforms. If you guys need some tickets, now that we got the BS out of the way,
isn't there a show coming up this Saturday?
This Saturday? No.
Yeah, February 7th.
Oh, Seven Mountains. Yes, this weekend. I forgot about that because I did not see a poster. Yes. This Saturday, Seven Mountains Pro Wrestling in Lewistown, Pennsylvania. If you guys need tickets for that, please hit us up too. All right, enough of me talking. Now let's bring on our guest.
The guest is
our guest. Our guest today is. See, I had a whole thing in my mind, and then you guys just threw me off.
I didn't do anything. It was Adrian.
Anyway. Yeah, I was blaming me because I'm black. That's what it is. Because I'm black.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know this gentleman below me, he is the master of the dungeon. He is the trainer of trainers. He is the best of the best. He is the living legend, Mark Mest.
He is the godfather of wrestling.
Yes. He is. Yes.
What
you see how he rap that too?
Thank you guys for that introduction. That is great. It is good to be here, guys. What's up, everybody?
What's up? And if not everyone remembers, Mark Mest was our first ever guest on the 3 Beards of Wrestling podcast.
Number one.
That is true.
First guest.
Very true.
All right, Mark, let's hop into it. You want to talk about
Shane, can we change his name to the OG Mark Mest?
So
There's another one.
Mark, do you want to hop into what you're doing with the mental health things, or you want to talk a little wrestling first?
Whatever you guys want to do, you tell me. I'll just follow the lead.
All right. Well, let's hop into what you're doing. So I got it pulled up on your Facebook post here, and it is about mental health. So let's hear a little bit about this.
It's a brand new company that started in late December, and it's really like brand new. It's just kind of like they started some social media, but it's so brand new that it's slow to build, and it's called Experience Knows, and literally it's a company with people. They're called guides. I'm a guide, and what the guide does is we're not licensed therapists. We don't have the big, PhDs and stuff like that, but we have the experience in whatever. Like for me, I got three. I have surgery, I have mental health, and I have death of a friend or a family member. So because I've been through so much, I've had, I mean, literally, in my interview, I'm telling the guy back in 2018, I was on life-saving medication. If I stopped it, I wouldn't be here no more until I could get my surgery. So that puts really a lot of, anguish, a lot of, it really makes you wonder because, like, I may not be here right now, but thanks to medicine, I was. And then going through losing a lot of friends, family, and then just mental health in general. We all know how this business is when it comes to mental health. So Experience Knows, if you go to their website, you can look for a guide, you can free. And the sessions are 30 minutes, and they're not hundreds of dollars. You can set your own. I have mine set for like $50. 30 minutes, one-on-one. It's, between you and me. And if you're just having a bad day, you have something, you just need to talk to somebody, that's what these guides are here for. You go to their website, you look for somebody that you're looking for that might be able to help you out. And it's like I said, it's one of the things where you don't have to worry about, do they take the insurance? Do you have to worry about, I need a referral because of mental health or whatever the issue is. Like I said, I do all those, but there's people that do many, many other things for the company. So and there's probably, I don't know how many guides, but I know there's a bunch of them. Like I said, it just started. It has a Facebook now. It has an Instagram. I think they're trying to do other things. They're slowly trying to push it. But like I said, it's really small company based out of California, and they're really just trying to get things off the ground so that people are like, hey, look, we're here. You don't need to go to a licensed therapist. I've been through this. I can help you get through it as well.
So Mark, just kind of to clarify, if people were to reach out to you, where are you kind of centrally located?
I mean, like, I'm in Pennsylvania.
So if they want to come see you, they want to come see your group. Like, where would they reach out and contact you?
Well, no, see, this is all online. So if you go to experienceknows.com, search for me, mine will pop up. And then what it is, like I'm available Monday through Friday right now. So I'm like, each day is different. You can schedule a 30-minute session with me on any of those days. So, and then it's like this, it's a one-on-one. I'm not sure exactly what they're using, if they're using a Zoom or they're using some kind of other, thing for, to talk, it might be Google Meet maybe or something. I'm not 100% sure, but, cause I haven't had a session yet, honestly. Just had I had the interview and that was through like a Google Meet, I guess it was, or something like that. So, but yeah, you can just go to experienceknows.com, search for my name, and then you can look for when I'm available, and then you can book a 30-minute session for any of those because I got mental health, surgery, death of a friend, so you can see everything on there. And, I want to do it for this, or I want to do it for that, and then you just book it, and then whatever time it is, day it is, we get to talk.
That's amazing. I think that's an awesome thing you guys are doing. I'm so glad to see that you're part of this, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always looking to give back. Just like in wrestling, I always want to give back, And as we get older, things get harder, and I wish I could be at more shows, but mobility's not as good, and things just take place. Life happens, I got some nephews running around, and they're always wanting attention and everything. So, I mean, when I was younger, and I was wrestling every weekend and doing shows every weekend. That was, but now things have shifted, and it shifts for everybody, But the bottom line is, I still want to help out whoever I can. And now, knowing that I can help people, because like I said, I've been through that. I've been through a lot of things. 52 years old, going to be 53 this year. I've been through so much that if somebody else is struggling, let me help you. I'm not the, that's the way I've been. You can ask anybody in the wrestling business. I've always been there to help, and I still continue. And I'll do it as long as I can, honestly, because I think that's the right thing. Humanity says, help thy neighbor, help somebody, help help a friend, help whoever, And I think that we've lost that. This world is lost of trying to be nice to everybody, and it saddens me to see all the negativity and stuff going on. If somebody needs help and they just walk by, I'm like, who cares? You know what? That's not me, so I'm not worried about it. One day that might be you. That might be you looking up, holding your hand out for somebody, and somebody goes, the hell with you. And you sit there going, oh my God, you know what? Nobody wants to help me. But you had that mentality before. So it comes around, sometimes it bites you in the ass.
I think your cause goes deep for the three of us. I think we all think about that stuff from time to time. I think it's a gracious cause. It's a beautiful cause. And I'm so proud of what you're doing, Mark. I really just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I just love giving back. My dad's been that way all his life. You give the shirt off his back to anybody. Stranger, doesn't matter, because that's how we were brought up. Our generation, my dad's generation, we were brought to help people, not to turn them away. Nowadays you can't trust a lot of people because you're afraid what they might do. But at the same time, there are genuine people out there that just need help, and sometimes you just have to say, you know what? I'm going to help them.
That's factual facts. Now, since we got past that, I'm going to turn it over to the two wrestling gods over here and let them ask you some wrestling trivia.
Gods? No. I am not a god.
Trivia?
No, the wrestling god you were just talking to.
Yeah.
I was talking to the wrestling god.
Yeah, we are just mere peasants.
You're not even wearing
FYI, I'm not good at trivia. I'm not very good at trivia. So.
Speaking of trust,
Adrian's over there wearing a sports bra. Did you see him?
It's when you have muscles, it looks like this. So one day when you grow up and actually get in the gym, you too.
Hey, Adrian, have you seen my hair? There ain't no more growing up than this.
You should put your hat back on. You should definitely put your hat back on. So what I was going to say about trust, I too have a problem with trust, but this is completely different. It's trusting somebody that you work with in the ring to not hit you in the balls, and I feel like that should be a thing, because getting hit in the whole testicular region with a kendo stick, it leaves trauma. It leaves trauma. A lot of trauma.
It can, very much so.
Yeah. I say that.
This business is built on trust, really. We have to trust each other when you're out there, because if not, somebody's going to get hurt. And then no matter who it is, it's never good, because if you hurt somebody, you get that reputation. But if you get hurt, maybe you can't come back to wrestle because of whatever, because it's that bad.
Well, you piece sideways. That happens.
Around the corner.
Yeah. You got to stay inside. You got to stand with the back and then let. Yeah. Go ahead, Chase. Right. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
He's talking about me. Last weekend we wrestled each other, and the kendo stick may have bent and hit him in his nuts.
There was no May. There was definitely
accidents do happen. I mean, unless it was
Mark,
that
looking back on like everything you've done, all the people you trained, is there one person out there that stands out amongst like the people you've trained through your career, or the people you've wrestled, or is there one person that you would say like, this is the guy?
The guy. What do you mean by this is the guy for like?
When you look at them and say they have the ability to go to the next level, like do you see that, or is it more of a defined aspect of it that you're looking at?
I mean, I trained a lot of guys coming, for over the many years, and like there's certain guys that have it. The question is, can they get to the next level? And maybe it's not because of them. It's just because of bad timing or bad circumstances. I mean, like, the famous guy I've trained was Steve Carino, who's still a producer down at NXT, and, I talk to him every now and then, text how's everything going, this and that, and, make sure everything's good, birthdays, whatnot, all. And, he back then he strived, like he put the work in time and time again. There's a lot of other guys that put in the work, but sometimes things just don't work out. One guy I thought he was going to go, and he did get there, for an extra, was Ed House. He's tall, he's got it, but it's like, sometimes circumstances just, it doesn't, you might have all the tools, but you got to realize in this business, you're trying to get to a big company. There's how many other thousands of applications people trying to get in. You have to stand out. And if you don't stand out, you don't make it. That's the way it works. But I mean, I don't know. So many people that I've trained, there's a lot of people that had it and were very good at what they did and could have went far. But again, they started a family, or maybe they got hurt, or just, they had their job changed, and now he's got to do what he's got to do for the job, so a lot of things can happen and have happened. I guess the question is, are they all, you look at them and go, well, they should have made it. Well, maybe, but I'm not them. I give you the tools as much as I can give you. You have to then go out there and prove it. That's one of the things, like with training. I would never do cardio. Why? Because I'm trying to teach you to wrestle. I'm not trying to teach you to run 10 miles or run a marathon. Okay? Your job as a wrestler is to get into the gym and get trained to be in the best shape you possibly can. Why should I waste my time on saying, hey, I want you to run around, do so many push-ups, too many this and that, do a couple blow-up drills all the time. Yes, it's good for in-ring cardio, but I'm teaching you to wrestle. So, and I think that's, a lot of people, we're all on the same level too. And that's the other thing I want to say. I was taught young in this business that nobody's above anybody. I don't care if they made a contract or not. You're still humble. You got there through hard work, dedication, and maybe you had a hand getting there. Maybe a friend of a friend helped get you there. But you know what? You got there. You stayed there. So you earned it. You got to earn it. And that's what it comes down to. But we're all on the same page. So I don't like putting people one above, like got it. I mean, there's a lot of people that got it. A lot of them just never got there or got to the next level because of life.
Yeah. Well said.
Amen.
Adrian?
I mean, and the thing is, it's like, wrestling is, it's so hard to get to the next level. I mean, it's easier now because of social media. 30 years ago, when there was no internet, we were doing tapes in the regular mail and had a landline phone and hoping that somebody's going to call you, whereas now you got cell phones, you've got, instant messages, all sorts of, social media platforms. So it's easier that way. But at the same time, and I was just talking to my dad earlier today, a lot of guys use social media, and then what they do is they run their mouth, and then the bigger companies see that, and then they don't want to use them because whether it's political, religious, or whatever goes on, they see a bad apple and they're going, well, that kid's got it, but we're not going to sign him because he's a problem. And they don't want that. So social media is a two-way street. It's easier to get there because you can send emails and links and everything you want. But at the same time, if you're out there causing trouble, starting fights, saying crap that whether it's true or not about people, to people, or whatever, you're a bad apple. You're not going to get signed. You're not going to get even looked at because they're going to see what you're doing now. You're not going to change in the future.
So kind of thinking about that, Mark. Do you think like more or less like today? Do you think it's more or less more kayfabe, or it's more talent oriented that drives it, or is it body structure?
Well, a lot of it's luck. Honestly, it's luck, but it's body. You got to realize wrestling is being about sellable. Can you make me money? They used to say, and I don't know if they say it anymore, but I remember years ago when you got signed to NXT, you were pretty much a they were like they were what do they call it? Like how did they word it? They were putting stock in you, so they were hoping that they're going to put money into you, hoping the return comes, and you make them money. So are you sellable? Or whatever you can do. Your look does mean something. Don't get me wrong. Your physique, of course, does too. Your attitude, and if you're coachable. If you're not coachable, they're not going to want you. I don't care how good you are. They might do that today, but I know years ago, if you weren't coachable, they didn't want you because it was going against their system. But the bottom line is it's luck. If you're in the best shape of your life and you got a good physique, you're decent looking, when you get a shot, there's a good chance. Absolutely. But, a lot of it is luck. But at the same time, you have to put in the work. You're not just going to if I go to the gym, once a week, that's enough. No. Too many people will look at this as a hobby and not a job because, well, I have a job. I have to go to work 5 days a week, maybe 6 days a week. I got to work 10-hour, 12-hour days. Then I wrestle on the weekends. It's tough. You're right, it is. But if you train like in practice, like you're practicing and not training like you're actually in a match, when you have a match, it's going to be the same way. So you're not going to put in your best effort. So you gotta put in that effort. If you want it bad enough, you got to treat it like a job. Like, this is my job. This is what I want it to be. Well, you got to get better at it. Dedication is big. You got to have that. If you don't have dedication, you're not going to have it. It's like anything, whether you're trying to lose weight, gain muscle, whatever. If you just eat whatever you want, are you going to gain or lose? Probably not, because you're not focusing on what you specifically need to do. You're just kind of like, well, it's this general area, so I'm just going to do it. And then in 6 months you see no results. Why? Because it's just one of them that you're putting the effort into it. You're not really saying, okay, look, I need to gain weight, so I need to eat this many calories, I need this much protein, I need to work out these many times a week, or vice versa. Like, I'm trying to drop weight now, and I have dropped some, and I'm continuing to hold myself accountable and say, hey, so many calories a day, so much protein, so much carbs, so much fat. That's what I need to. Now, there's some days, I kind of go off the rail a little bit, but not much. But next day, I'm right back on the horse going, no, this is what I need to do. I need to stop lying to myself and hold myself accountable. Wrestling's the same way. You want to, it's a hobby, okay. Then this isn't for you and you're doing it for fun, okay, that's great. Don't complain when you don't get looked at then. Or, well, man, I sent all my stuff in. Nobody seems to care. Well, do you care what you look like? Do you care if you're training? Trying to get better in the ring, not just working on shows every weekend. Football, hockey, baseball, you name it. They practice during the week because they need to get better. Wrestling's no different, but a lot of people think, well, I'm wrestling every weekend. Why do I have to train? Beep, that's a big no-no. You have to get better. If you don't get better, you're not going to get better, and you're not going to get signed or even looked at because of your work ethic.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I'll turn it over to the boys over here and let them ask you some questions because I'm just a historian. Those guys are the guys that do it every day.
Good, Adrian.
I think that's a pitfall that a lot of guys fall into, thinking because they work every weekend that they don't have to train because, this guy books me and this guy books me, so I should be good. They think I'm well enough to be in there. They're not taking in the fact that it is a grind. It is a constant grind. You can always be better. You can always get better. The way you do a certain move can look a little crisper if you train and if you practice.
Right.
What are some of the pitfalls that you see with guys coming into the business now as compared to like when you first started?
Today there's more attitude. Guys that, as soon as they get, and I don't know if it's because that's how they are, but like a lot of people get that attitude, they get that, that whole like, hey, look at me, what I can hit this move, I can do this, I can hit all these moves. Can you put them together? Can you do psychology? Can you put it all together and make it a good package? Years ago, and of course wrestling is different now. I mean, 20 years ago, if you weren't, you wanted to get in and you got in and you're not taking it seriously, you get your ass whooped in training. Say, look, boy, this is what you wanted. Don't waste my time. If you're going to work out, let's work out. If not, hit the road. Stop wasting my time. Whereas now, you beat somebody up right away. Oh, you're a bully. You're using excessive force. You're this, you're that. Okay, but here's the thing. You have to, as a wrestler, have to figure out one of two things. Is this something that's just going to be a hobby to you? You're going to pay your training, and if you get on a couple shows, locally, and you're happy and you're having a tent, or are you looking to say, look, I'm taking this super serious. I want to get to the first level, the second level, the third level, and whatever level I can get to, I'm in 100%. Because a lot of guys think they're in it for 100%, but then treat it like a hobby again, and they're like, well, I'm wrestling every weekend, so I don't need to train. And the attitude is, well, I'm getting booked here, I'm getting booked there, but here's the thing. Yes, there's a lot of companies, but how many are you getting booked at? If you're only getting booked at, like, say, 4 or 5 companies in the same area, and you're not, branching out, why? So they book you because, well, you're maybe a sort of a draw, but, they like you and you like the gimmick. What about the guys that you sent stuff, maybe heard nothing back? Why aren't you branching out? If you're as good as you say you are, you should be branching out. Wrestling with the same guys, same 4 groups over and over and over for years, it's like spinning your wheels in mud. You're not getting anywhere. You need to get out there. You need to branch out. Go to a different state. Go a couple states away. See what wrestling is out there. Because there's good and there's bad out there. Let's face it. I've been to many independent shows in my career, and you sit there and you shake your head going, oh, is this over yet? But then you go to shows like, man, this is a great show. Start to finish, what a show. A lot of the talent was really good. Maybe you had one or guys that were but the whole show was great. You don't see a lot of those anymore. I mean, you see some good matches. But, and it's because I think a lot of guys aren't taking it as seriously as they should, which is why I think there's so many guys that can get into business, but then they train for like 2-3 years and aren't going anywhere. Well, why not? If you're training like you should be getting to that next level somehow, some way. And if you're not, why? And a lot of guys don't sit back and go, why am I not getting booked other places? What's wrong? Is my promo not good? Is my in-ring ability not good? Is my look not good? They don't like my gimmick? you have to learn to access yourself. And a lot of guys don't. Because a lot of guys can't cut a promo on who they are today. Oh, I got this gimmick. Well, who are you? I don't know. Well, if you don't know who you are, then fans out there don't know who you are. So until you tell them fans or they're not going to care. Lost art of being you, figuring the gimmick, putting the time in. It's a lot of that today.
See, this is why I love Mark.
Yeah, no, that's probably the most real talk I've heard in a long time.
So
I mean,
and honestly, I'm just being honest because, yes, this is around the business 35 years. 26 years in ring, 35 years around the business. I've seen a lot. Have I seen everything? No. In wrestling, I'll never say never because you never say that in wrestling. But the shows that I've gone to, I can do a couple rentals yet here and there, but I see stuff online and I see shows, and you just sit there and you shake your head going, how is that company, business-wise, they can't be making any money. So somebody's forking money into them, and it just shakes your head because you're like, why? Why are you putting all this effort in and not getting anything out of it? Like, I understand, wrestling, you're not in it to make money, okay? At least for wrestling, for shows. But if you treat it like a business, maybe you lose a little bit of money. Maybe you can break even, But you got to treat it like a business. So when guys come in and say, hey, I got 4 guys here, my family, well, I can give you one, but, the other 3 got to pay because business, nothing personal. Tickets got to be, hey, the boys want to get paid. The building wants to get paid. The doctors got to get paid. Licensed guys got to get paid. Everybody wants to get paid, but everybody wants to let everybody in for nothing. It doesn't work like that unless, you're running shows and you just got all the money in the world to do it. But it's a reality. A lot of people don't like to see it. And, some people may be like, well, they may not like what I say, but it's true. And that's the trouble. A lot of people are hard to say, oh, well, you know what? Damn, he's right. Why don't
Mark,
people treat him like this?
Do you think today it's more of a booker standpoint? Independent contractors that are doing these indie shows. Do you think it's more of their fault, or do you think it's more of they've unleashed the fact that kayfabe isn't kayfabe anymore?
Well, see, kayfabe isn't kayfabe anymore. I get it, But here's the thing: magic still happens in the ring. Still happens. Whether you good guy versus evil, it's good guy versus bad guy. It should be all the time. You have good versus good and bad versus bad. Okay, face heel face. But the bottom line is, magic happens. The bookers. I don't know who's to blame. Bottom line is, if you're running a show, if you're the promoter and booker, it falls on you. Bottom line. If you're the promoter trying to promote and you have a booker, okay, the promoter's job is to get people there. The booker is booking the talent to make sure the people stay there. So they go, man, that was a great show. We got to come back again. That art, that's a lost art. People are booking, goes, hey, buddy, hey, hey, friend number 1, you want to come and wrestle for me? Yeah. Okay, cool. That's the problem.
Yes.
And of course the other thing too is there are some guys that are good, like, well, hey, I need $300 to come in. What? I could pay you maybe like 50 or 75. Oh, well, how far are you traveling? Well, half hour. Wait. Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry, I can't use you. Why not? I can't afford $300, but I can afford 75.
Right.
Take it or leave it. Some guys book themselves like, well, I was an extra and I did this and I did that. Okay, that's great. A lot of people did extras, had extra work. Does that mean all of a sudden that you now have to? Can you bump it up? Sure, maybe a little. If you're making 40 or 50, maybe say, hey, can you 60 or 70? Not like, well, now I'm worth 150. I'm worth 200. I was on TV. Book me. It doesn't work like that, unless you were a name that, like if you were like in, say, Ring of Honor, or if you were in TNA and you had a little run of something, of course, then when you come to the Indies, you have a little, pizzazz behind you. But Joe Schmo, in the Indies, and then going, well, hey, saw me on TV, now I can make more money. Maybe a little, but not to the point where, well, hey, I got a budget of like, 2,000, and I can pay you X amount. If you need this, I'm sorry, I can't do it.
Do you
I
think?
remember the time.
Do you honestly think that that's the biggest concern in the Indies right now? Like trying to draw talent in to bring fans to the seats. Is that where you think that's kind of going?
It is to an extent, but I believe that I think that you got to have good matches. You got to have good storylines. If you have that, I think you can draw. But the trouble is, you're going to find guys that are, oh, I need 150 or above to come in. You can find another guy that pays 65 and he does just as good, if not better. But because it's about quality. It's about putting on matches that the people can relate to. They have a good time. That's what it comes down to. You can have all these guys that are worth $300, $400, $500, but here's the bottom line. Are they putting asses in the seats to pay for themselves? Probably not. You bring in a name that's worth $1,000. You're thinking like, oh, okay. But now, are you going to get enough fans for him or for her? Doesn't matter. Whatever the cost is for them to come in. If you're paying $20 a ticket, can you sell enough extra seats? Not just, oh, I draw 100 all the time, so I can pay. No. You need extra because now this is an extra 1,000 and plus, travel and room and board, hotel. You maybe got $1,500 locked up in this. Ken, so you you got another 700 people there because of them. Hate to say it, probably not. Unless you're a bigger company like a GCW or some of the bigger companies that are more, bigger indie-ish ones like MLW. Yes, because they're bigger. But the smaller, just the regular guys around here, you probably won't make it back unless you're really good at business and be able to know how to draw. Again, goes back to the promoter, and the booker and how you're booking that, for that match, for what they're going to do on the show. It all ties in. Trouble is, nobody knows how to piece it all together. Some do. Don't get me wrong. There are companies out there that are doing well. They're drawing a couple hundred a show, and maybe they're making a little bit of money, and they're doing well. But on the flip side, there's a bunch of others that aren't, and it's because they're lack of either business, or they don't care, or they're just, for whatever reason, not doing what they should be doing. And unfortunately, that hurts our business because when you see bad shows, you're going, man, especially people that see wrestling for the first time going, oh, you watch that? Yeah, no, I'm not coming back to this. This is terrible. I had a bad time. I'm not doing that. Bad taste in people's mouths. That's what hurts our wrestling. That's what hurts wrestling business most.
Amen.
I was going to leave it for you guys to take that one over. So I just raise my hands. Amen.
Amen.
Shane? He's not wrong. I've seen it where, there's been people that, I got extra work now. Or they do like these little
seminars,
or they do like one of these camps, and then they like, oh, I'm trained by this person.
I'm certified by Seth Rollins.
In reality, like you did like a camp. Like that's what you did.
Yeah. And see, the thing is, and I know there's might be some people that'll be like, oh my God, like they what I'm saying is hurtful or they think I'm wrong. The bottom line is this, like,
the truth hurts.
Truth does hurt. That's a lot of people can't handle truth today. Not just in wrestling, but in life. A lot of people can't handle going, oh man, you know what? And SOB's right. I don't want to admit to it, but he's right. It's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. But here's the thing. Yes, it's good to get on TV. Don't get me wrong. If you can be extras, go do it, man. Absolutely. Because you can, what is wrestling? Networking. So you meet new guys, talk to guys. So maybe you don't go to WWE. Well, hey, I got a guy, maybe works, something in TNA, you're an extra there, or AEW, or maybe you get to MLW. You get to these companies that are like, oh, that are doing like TV and stuff. So, you're working your way around these bigger indie companies around, the nation, and I got TV or whatever, and you're just going out there and killing it. You're getting better, so you're never, nobody, I mean, unless you're a freak of nature, you to be like, come into a training school and then go to like signed by WWE, unless you're like a Batista, like he did years ago, or a lot of them guys that were, like a Mark Henry or, a Braun Strowman, they're freak of nature, so they go look like, oh, what can we do with this guy? Most of us aren't that big, that strong, that athletic, that powerful. So you have to figure out what to do, and, you just, the grind, network, get on shows, train, get better, become versatile, help out, do things that nobody else would do because they're going to have you come back. Hell, I'll never forget that time we were out in Wisconsin. And it was a big show. They had like 1,000 people there. And all the talent was helping tear down the chairs. Freaking Dreamer was there. Freaking Sandman was there. Meanie was there. They're helping tear down. Because why? Because, they know, well, hey, it's got to get done. So let's help tear down so we all can go back to the hotel and, relax.
So thinking about what you said, Mark. Thinking about what you said, like knowing that you've probably seen the Wrestlers documentary, you've seen the Undisclosed behind the WWE. I mean, it obviously lets light into the room. Do you think that's a detriment to the indie scene, or do you think that's a help to the indie scene?
Are you talking about the stuff they do backstage where like they show? Like
with the wrestlers, like the wrestler documentary, like just seeing what it was like with OVW and like what people were doing to try to make it, and then seeing the back scene side of like the undocumented from WWE.
Right.
Like what's your take on how that's affected the indie scene?
See, like OVW is a little different because they were always a bigger company, and they're kind of doing their own thing. I like the documentary of OVW. I thought it shows realism. See, today a lot of the stuff today is being real, and I think that's why they're doing a lot of backstage stuff because, yes, they're pulling the curtain back and showing what's really going on. The magic is still there, but at the same time, people are intrigued on how things work. It's like the magician. He does the magic trick, and how do you do it? If you told him that, years ago, if he showed you the trick, you're like, oh, it's not magic anymore. WWE is kind of pulling it back, saying, well, this is how things are kind of done. I think in a way, it hurts and it helps. One, you're taking, that whole kayfabe away. You're kind of taking that stuff away to an extent, but it's not that it's dead because, again, in the ring, you've got good guy, bad guy. I didn't get a chance to watch the Rumble, but I watched clips of guys with like Gunther and AJ and stuff. Like Gunther, they hate Gunther for what he did. He's been a heel, so they're making magic because you don't know what's going to happen. You think AJ's going to win. He's not going to win. They have you on that roller coaster ride. They know it's all good. There's an ending. They just don't know it. And that's what they're all intrigued. Like, everybody wants to see what the ending is. Well, you have to wait. The story is telling itself. Eventually, it's going to happen. You know, OVW showed that of how the problems and how things are. Now, does it hurt people? Does it hurt them? I don't know. It's real though. So people are like, well, if I want to get involved, that's what's going to happen. You're going to say, people are going to say, oh, this is what I want, or they're going to say, no, I don't. So I think it can go both ways. And with WWE turning, pulling the curtain back, showing the meetings, the backstage stuff, and how things are, I liked it. I mean, honestly, I like it because I like to watch. Don't get me wrong. I like to see how things work too. As a fan, I'm like, I want to see how this thing works. But as the average fan that's never been in the business, has never stepped foot through the ropes, to see it, I think that's why they are drawing so many people, because they don't know what you're going to show next. What are they going to do next? What are they going to show now? With Mania coming up, what are they going to do? What are they? How is this story going to turn out? What story is going to come up next? What's going to happen? They're enticed because they don't know what they're going to do. So the magic of that's still there. Kayfabe is still there in the ring if you allow it to happen. You have to allow it. Not the fans. You have to do that. If you're the heel, you should be out there mouthing off, getting heat, whatever. That baby is only as good as you are as the heel. So you got to get out there to get that baby over. That's where the magic comes in. A lot of people forget that. Without that, you have a match that two people go to. And I hate to say it, years ago I've seen good matches become tennis matches. It's like people are going this. They're watching it, they clap. They watch it, they clap. Okay? They're not really into the match. They're kind of like tennis. They're watching it. Ooh, what's going to happen? Ooh, oh, yeah. Not where they're actually booing and they're trying. Here comes the babyface back, and they're like, yeah, come on, get involved, get it, And then you cut them off. You're like, oh, there's no emotional close pride. There is none of that. You forgot how to do that. You got to learn to do that. You got to, and then WWE does it all the time. Why? Because even though they pull everything back, magic. I still say this business is built on magic. When you figure that out, you can do anything.
Amen.
Yeah.
That is the gospel.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, I mean, I think making magic happen for these young kids who are just coming up through generations, like that's where in lies the future of everything.
I mean, and that's the thing. I've seen guys that I train having their first and second matches, and watching them go out doing real well. The crowd is into it, and even hell, I've seen guys like Colby, and and there's others like Shane. I've seen you do it, and I've seen all you guys, guys that are close to me, going out and having good matches, and it just brings a tear to my eye that you're going out there and they're lighting the crowd up. They're having a good match. They're having a good time. And so I'm like, well, you know what? I helped train somewhat. I'm not taking full responsibility, but if I had a hand in it, I'm so happy.
What you did.
Because
definitely.
I'm passing on what I know, my experience, to help them guys hopefully get to wherever they want to go. I'm not in charge of where they want to go. They're in charge of where they want to go. I've seen, so all the kids, grandkids, because Shane, you're like a grandkid, because of Rob and everything. So Colby's a grandkid. A lot of the guys going out there and having good matches just brings a smile and a tear to my eye, because at the end of the day, that's all you can ever ask for is say, hey, I pass this on. Whatever you do with it, I hope you can do whatever you can with it and be the best you can be. And then I have seen that a lot. There's shows I've been to, and I've got that tear going. Damn, that was a good match. They did really good. I'm so proud, so proud.
So Mark, when you think about that tear that comes down your face, What is the greatest match you've ever been in?
I've ever been in?
Or one that comes to memory that you're like, damn, that was the best.
My first match.
Oh,
I don't know if it'll be my best match, but back in 2011, I was wrestling the Indies. They were all the same. I was wrestling the same, and back then there was like today. There's a lot of drama, and I was really getting tired of just the crap. I wasn't having fun. There was a bunch of attitudes in every locker room that I went to. I really wasn't having it. And my buddy Julian, who lived in Wisconsin, texted me, say, "Hey man, I got a show coming out here. I'm doing Freedom Pro Wrestling. I was wondering if you wanted to come out." And it was in April. I think it was like April 11th, maybe, or something like that, in 2011. And I was like, I said, "Oh man, this was back in February of 2011." I'm like, "I'm booked." I said, "I'm sorry." I said, "I got another booking." I said, "I'd love to, but," I said, I'm the straight shooter. I take first book, first come, first serve." "No, I get it." So 2 weeks later, the booking cancels, and I texted him, like, "Hey man," I said, "I know you reached out, but if you need me, I'd be still willing to come out, whatever." And he's like, "Really? Yeah, absolutely. It's great. Oh, I'm glad you can make it. A couple of boys are coming from Philly and this and that." And he goes, "Oh, you're going to be working, the Outlaws." And I was like, "Oh," I'm like, "is there a team out there, the Outlaws?" He goes, "No." He goes, "The New Age Outlaws." And I was like, "Oh." I was like, "Okay." He's like, "I'm going to do a 3-on-2, because I guess Teddy Fine and the manager, Winky, was the tag champions. And he wanted me to do a 3-on-2. Originally, I couldn't make it. So when I said I could, he's like, "Oh, yeah, you got to come out." So I was like stoked. I'm like, "Wow, the Outlaws, like, this is going to be great." So now I'm a little bit better. But getting out there and like Al Snow was on the show, Carlita was on the show, talking to them guys, and like realizing like that match. Don't get me wrong, it was good. It was a good match. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if it was my best, but they taught me how to have fun. Because going out there, because like originally, Billy said we're going to do this in the beginning, yada yada yada. Eventually, I was going to shoulder tackle. He was going to shoulder tackle everybody except for me, because it was a lockup, send off. Billy would tackle the manager, Teddy, tag me in, go to shoulder tackle me, take the headlock, shoulder tackle, and he would bump. Road Dogg's like, "Look, I'm going to come in, feed you, bump me." I was okay. While they were out there, they were having a time of their life. They were allowed to have beer out there, but they were having a good time. And I'm sitting there and I'm laughing because there's a spot where they're outside and freaking Billy falls. He slips and falls. Road Dogg's like, yo, X-Pac, take it easy, brother. Take it easy. I mean, I'm on the apron. I'm just like, but they taught me that, you know what? Wrestling can be fun. I just got to make it fun. They made it fun. They always made it fun. Like, that match was great. That record, like, thank you guys. Thank you so much. They made me realize going, it doesn't matter if I'm wrestling local, I'm wrestling a name or whatever. I need to have fun. And they taught me how to have fun. Since then, I was just wrestling to have fun. If a match didn't go very well, chalk it up. Can't be every match can't be WrestleMania. But I learned to have fun with whoever I was going to wrestle. And I did.
For new guys coming in, Mark, excuse me, for new guys coming in, what's one piece of advice you can give them?
The piece that has been around forever. Listen, be a sponge, take notes, and just soak whatever you can in from anybody and everybody. Be that sponge. You see a guy on the show that's been there for a couple years, pick his brain. Name on the show, talk to him. Pick his brain. Get some details. Watch matches. Guys going out there, it's been, this guy's been there for like 10 years. Go watch his match. Don't sit in the back and yap around or whatever. Go watch. Learn by looking. Watch how he in the ring. See what he does. Or a tag or whatever it's going to be. You need to be a sponge at all time. Because that's how you're going to grow. My first 6 months in the business, TV for Sports Channel America for IWCCW. Hamburg Fieldhouse, old school, 2 locker rooms. Back then, no cell phone, no internet, intercoms. 30 matches a night. You got to search for your guy, and you had to call everything in the ring. You either sank or you swam. That was it. You learned. We learned trial by fire. We had to. If we didn't learn, we wouldn't survive. Nobody knows how to call on the fly anymore either. But being a sponge, I wrestled guys like King Galua when I was young. Man, I still watch some of his stuff because how good he is. You can watch him and learn. Guys have been around. I wrestled. I've been guys in the ring that aren't around anymore, but I've learned by watching or being in the ring with them. As a youngster, if you're new, sponge it, talk it out, write stuff down. Don't be afraid to ask. Be courteous. Be respectful. Be very respectful. Don't disrespect because, well, that won't get you far in the business.
Yeah. Well, we have reached our hour. Mark, again, it was always great having you on here.
Yeah, thank you. You text me about coming on. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to,
And I hope we get to see you soon.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I hope so.
It's long overdue. We haven't seen you in forever.
Well, I mean, that's almost. Yeah. No, it's still too long.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping the cold goes away because my bones say and my joints say, screw this cold.
Right.
Now I know why people go to Florida.
Yeah.
So next week our guests are the Colt. We will have all 3 of the Colt on here live next week.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Mark, thank you.
And
thank you guys. I appreciate it.
And if you guys need help, experienceknows.com. Check it out. Mark's on there. He'll be a great person to vent to, give you great advice. He has been helpful to, I know, me and Shane for a fact. So yes, please check it out.
Still one of my best moments is I wrestled a match and I saw Mark stand up and clap. I was like, all right.
My favorite one, and I knew I was doing right. I was wrestling Creed, and I clotheslined the living hell out of Creed, and I heard Mark in the back going, "Damn, I love Shango." I was like,
"Yep."
Mark was my first. Now not even legal, but Mark was my first match in wrestling.
Yep. Oh yeah.
But thank you again, Mark.
Just listen, kid. It's all you got to do. No, thank you. You guys are wonderful. So I appreciate everything you guys do.
Hey, we appreciate you, man.
No, yes. We're not worthy.
Ladies and gentlemen, please respect the master of the dungeon, the legend himself, Mark Mest.
All right, guys.
Until next week.
Later.
Appreciate it.
Later.
See you guys. Thank you.